So you have the unique distinction, especially in today's time, of having listened to the Cleveland Orchestra as a student to now joining the orchestra. I understand you also played as a sub with many orchestras throughout the country before landing this job. Um, can you talk a little bit about some qualities that the Cleveland Orchestra possesses that you've come to appreciate as a full-time member that's unique, making it unique from the other orchestras you've played with?
Sure. Yeah, it's really interesting to play with other orchestras and come back and play with Cleveland. And in my mind, there's no comparison. I mean, Cleveland in my mind is the best. But what I appreciate most about Cleveland Orchestra is just how balanced they are at all times. A lot of a lot of amazing orchestras, their loud register is amazing. It's fiery, it's passionate, it's gutsy, it's everything. Um, but the softer register sometimes feels a little bit underdeveloped. Um, I feel like with Cleveland, they dare to play really soft and make these huge contrasts. And I think part of that is Severance Hall. You are able to play super, super quietly and have it sound beautiful. But yeah, there's so much balance. There isn't I'm not naming any names, orchestra names. Sometimes there's a lot of blasting going on. Sometimes there's a lot of, which can be so fun to listen to. But I do appreciate that there's not that that energy in the Cleveland Orchestra. I mean, there are definitely moments where it is appropriate and they do that, but I like that that's not the precedent. What else? Gosh, I just think they really have such an elegant sound and something is just so warm and special about it. I'm not saying that these other fantastic orchestras don't have an elegant sound. It's something very unique about Cleveland. And I'm even having a hard time putting my finger on it, but it's so special. When you know, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think sometimes that's the problem with like the modern age of classical music is we're all about projection and we're all about, you know, playing things as loud as we can sometimes. And I mean, I think there is a sense of weight and power that comes with a group that can play really loudly. But I would argue that it's almost more powerful to be able to draw the listener in by playing so quietly that you have the audience almost having to like, oh, what are you doing?
Couldn't
So
have said it better myself. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, especially because again, like working with younger students, like it's that's their intuitive go-to sound is just to play things loud. And working with chamber groups, sometimes I try to experiment with them and tell them like, hey, let's see how soft we can play. And it's hard for them, but when it works, like it's much more powerful, I think. And I'm sure you see that yourself. So
Totally. It brings it into three dimensions,
yeah.
rather than just sound. It just creates so much depth and yeah, it forces the audience to it's like
Yeah.
it's like when you're a teacher and you want your kids to listen to you and so you speak really quietly and they all I better listen. Yeah, it's pretty magical. Definitely.